all these golden nuggets.
I don't want to miss all these golden nuggets. Clarissa's got to be a really hard name to grow up with in the 90s.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm referring to, right?
Yeah. Oh, I had a friend. I think I was like, my friend's dad was like a sound mixer. So I grew up
Okay.
in the valley in LA, which is
Okay.
like a short drive away from like all the movie sets and the studios, like
That's dope.
those things.
Okay.
And every Halloween, maybe it wasn't every Halloween, but like for a while, and this is back when you'd call a house phone and leave a message
A
and it would
voicemail. Yeah.
record and you have to like rewind the tape and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they would play the Silence of the Lambs, like "Hello, Clarice," like
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd get that like every Halloween.
So when did it evolve from Clarice to Clara? You said when you moved? And
So
why? I'm really
my
interested in why this happened.
so Filipino people nomenclature, it's usually of
Okay.
like two first names.
Okay.
Two first names. Your middle name is your mom's maiden name, and then you have your last name. So I am Clara Isabel, which
Okay.
if you shorten it, it becomes Clarice.
Clarice. Okay.
And then so I just always went by that. Like even like in grade school, I'd always like I learned how to spell Clarice first and like that's just like what I went by and I never really gave it any thought. And then when I moved away for college, you know, there's like the roster and they say your name funny. And so I just got tired of
I feel seen right now.
explaining explaining myself. So I was just
Yeah.
like, just call me Clara. Just makes life
I,
easier.
yeah. I feel so seen right now. My full name is Desiderio. So like last name is a beta. So I'm very, very first attendance. I
Mhm.
would see teachers sweat and I'm like, it's Desi. They're like, oh my God, thank you.
I don't wanna mess this up.
I don't want to mess this up. Ah, gosh. Clara, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. So we had a little bit of a cold opening, but the way that I wanted to start this, but we didn't get to, but the way that I wanted to start this was, hey, bitch, it's me, the voice inside your head.
The whispering. My whispering
the,
TikToks.
the whispering TikToks. Um, there's so much about like why I'm excited to do this, Clara, and we'll obviously dive into a lot of that. But for our audience out there, Clara's been someone that actually you have a bunch of like fan people in the dietetics community. You
Oh my
understand that,
god.
right? You understand
No.
that, right?
I have my bubble and then I just try to like I'm like, probably everyone's making fun of me.
No, no, no. You are looked at fondly, my friend. I got
Thank
passed
you.
on to your account from my younger sister, who is actually in her dietetic internship right now. Shout out to you, Marisa. So she was the
Hey.
one that was like, Des, you gotta see her TikToks. Like, you have to follow this person. So as I followed a little bit more, and this is kind of what I said to you when I reached out to you about jumping on this, I was like, hey, there's a couple people in the social media sphere, if you will, that I think I could be friends with. And Clara, you are actually one. So I'm really excited to have you on. Uh,
Yes.
like all parts of you, the star sticker on your head, it's just it's glorious right now.
Wow. Wow. Just paint the picture. Just paint it.
uh
Jeez.
people will get visuals. It's okay. I love this. Well, Clara, I am a huge fan boy, if you will, of you. But for
Thank
our
you.
audience out there, how would you introduce yourself?
I am I would say that I am a dietetic menace.
I love that. Oh,
I
yes, you
am
are.
fully leaning into this is my villain era, okay? I am on my way to my
This is so great.
mid-30s.
Okay. I'm
and
36. Shout
I'm
out.
gonna I'm gonna be 34 this year. I literally thought I was gonna be, like, 32, and then I realized my daughter is turning 4, which means I'm turning 34.
I measure mine in the same way. My daughter's turning 6 next month. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm 36."
Right, and it's like I was like, "Oh, yeah." I think pandemic just messed me up, like, my sense of all time just, like, out the window. Um, so, yeah, I'm just totally and fully committed to leaning into my villain era phase,
Okay.
unapologetically with the boundaries, with my opinions, even if they might be wrong. I
Hey,
I have gotten a few things wrong in the recent.
you? No, you haven't.
So, yeah, I think, just like I it's funny because, like, I think in your 20s, you worry so much about what everyone thinks.
God damn it,
And
yes.
now I'm like, do I care? Not really. Because you're gonna piss someone off anyways. Everyone's gonna
I
be
know.
mad. There's always gonna be someone angry, always someone that's gonna be in their feelings. And a lot of it is like, that's a you problem.
It seems like a you problem. That ain't a me problem.
That seems like we are projecting a little bit. But yeah, so I would call myself a dietetic menace, right? Like I
Yeah,
think that there's a lot of like black and white thinking, a lot of like this or that.
yeah,
Um, but I find myself just enjoying my time in the mess.
yeah. I love that. Because like the whole premise of this podcast is like tapping into the habits and the rituals of people who are high performing in their relationships, their life, all of these other areas, right? The thing that I really like about what you said is like you're in your villain era. So I have to ask you, every villain has their origin story, right? They have that one moment. They have that one moment in their life where they're like, "You know what? Fuck this."
Yeah.
uh So I got to know. Obviously, we're going to be tapping into a lot of what's created this beautiful human being in front of us, and at the same time, like I'm really interested with what makes you you. So I need to know what the origin story. What's the villain moment for you?
You know which I think it would be that comes like there's probably a bajillion things that led up to it, right? Like if you was like it would be a whole series of all the things.
Hey, we could have a part one, two, three, four, and five. You can
But
be a Can't Believe Pod co-host if you want.
you just talk about all the things we did wrong and just
Yeah.
normalize it. Normalize
Yes.
getting stuff wrong.
Yes.
I my account was like got shut down because someone tried hacking it.
Oh,
And it
it's like
was
my worst nightmare.
because I well, I mean, I have, like, the authentication things. I have, like, all the extra
Yeah.
stuff, so, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Go
Two
ahead and try.
factor.
Go
Yeah.
ahead and try." You don't know. Um, and what was I think I had made a post about, like, standing with fully, like, behind, like, Black Lives Matter and uplifting, um, like, Black dietetics specifically, right? Because this is the space we inhabit. So,
Shout
I'd,
out
like, made a
Diversify.
yes, I'd made a post about it, and, like, I feel like someone tried to fight me or something, and it turned into, like, a whole thing, like, a whole, like, very weird,
N
Instagram, like, "This is Instagram." Like, "This is are you joking?" Like, text your friends. Don't
Yeah.
slide into my DMs. Like,
Yeah.
don't talk to me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I, like, woke up and my account was like, "Your account has been disabled because someone tried," like, you get the notification that, like, it was like someone tried to log in and it failed, like, the authentication thing, and so, yeah, I was like, "What the hell is happening?" And then I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do this more."
This felt good.
Like, you don't like it when I say these things that need to be said? I'm gonna do it more, and I'm gonna do it funny, and I'm gonna make it like a fun experience where it's kind of like, ha ha ha, ha like, ow, why is that?
Why'd that hurt a
Wait a
little
second.
bit?
Wait a second. What's happening? Because it's like how I love to learn. Like,
Yeah.
this is just like my, it's a little bit of like, haha, a little bit of, but yeah. And so that's literally kind of like where this all started. And I was like, you know what? I'm done trying to make, I was like in this weird Instagram phase where I was like, what kind of content do I want to put out there? Do I want it to be like kind of in line what's already out there? Do I want it to be something else? And then I was like, this is how I talk to my friends in real life. Like, this is just the way that I converse naturally. So why don't I
Yeah.
make my content sound like that? And if it lands with people, it lands with people. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And the people that it does land with, I'm like, we could probably be friends in real life.
Yeah.
And cut to today, we got a TikTok, we got an Instagram.
Let's go.
But that's
we
so
got
that's
a we
pretty
got a
much.
podcast starting. Oh, I would listen to your podcast. I would 100% listen to your
I
pod.
will hold you to that. I will
All
hold you
right,
to that.
let's go. So let's kind of like go back to 2020. So that seems like that was like the origin for you just speaking more authentically and just not giving a fuck about whose feelings you hurt. Um, I completely resonate with that. And if we look at the field of dietetics, and I actually love that you're a dietetics villain, if you will, because I very much want to be that too. I am so tired of the people that are making the decisions for us. Because there's a select few of, and you're one of them, Clara, by the way. There's a select
Aw.
few where I'm like, hey, what do you all think in the next 3, 4, maybe 5 years, just overtaking this all? Like, let's do our career field correctly. So you're definitely on that.
Hmm.
Are you
I
in?
a fan of the control alt delete on the entire thing.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I feel like it just needs to be like, you know what? This didn't work. There's a glitch. Shut it off.
Yeah.
Blow on it. Let's start again.
Super Nintendo. Yes.
And it's like, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
You guys will do it wrong. So let me just do it real quick and then we will be on our way and we can start anew. You know what? I'm surprised that there hasn't been, honestly. Like, I know that there was like there was a group that was trying to get started. Was it like a union or something? And then
Hmm.
it didn't really work out. I feel like, yeah, I don't know what, and Matt, I feel like there's a chance that this could be a really great space. I just don't know what it looks like. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's modeling it after, what's weird to me in our field? The president of our academy, even though like I'm not a member, isn't even a dietitian. So
Yeah.
like how really could person know like what dietetics needs?
Yeah.
That part is like the craziest part to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crazy parts in in
Yeah.
the dietetic space.
Well, Clara,
Yeah.
let's kind of like go there because a lot of your content, and for listeners out there, obviously we're going to make sure we put all of this in the show notes so that you can give Clara a follow because it's a really big dose of truth. That stings a little, but it's a good sting. And if it stings you more, it's because you got
'Cause
some
I'm
work to
talking
do.
about you. It's
Yeah,
because I'm
talking about
talking
you.
about if you feel like I'm talking about you,
I'm
if
talking
the
to
shoe
you.
fits, I mean, wear it. It's not my
Yeah.
fault that it fits.
Seems like a you problem. um, so I'm wondering, Clara, like I mean, how would you describe your activism? I mean, that's kind of like the way that I wrap my head around a lot of the messages that you provide. So, like, how would you describe it? Because in the same breath, like, I'm also thinking about like what's wrong with the field of dietetics right now. What's wrong with the way that we teach people about their health?
I would describe my form of activism as the bare minimum.
Okay.
The bare minimum of like, we are talking about everything, the uncomfortable parts and the comfortable parts. Um, we are, I am, you know, I put my money where my mouth is. I try to make donations to organizations regularly. Um, I have two small children. We're in a pandemic, so I don't really go places. But what I can do is, share messages. I can donate money. And that's
Hmm.
probably like for me, the bare minimum.
Yeah. So, like with a lot of our listeners, a great deal of them are dietitians. So you're absolutely speaking their language. But for those who have no idea what you're talking about, like how would you explain that? Like, I'm a dietitian who does this, or do you go deeper into that? Like, how would you explain that? Because it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I am a dietitian. I am who does like outpatient by day. And then
I'm a
on my
fucking
lunch
superhero.
breaks, on the lunch breaks and in the nighttime, I I try to center the conversations that we should be having that I think disrupt like the status quo, that might push the needle in a direction that is foreign to the way things are currently.
Hmm.
That might shine light on things that are kept in the dark, and I think maybe offer a space of exploration for, you get so wrapped up in the way things are because and you just get used to it, right? It becomes like
Yeah.
second nature. And so I think that I read this book that was like 95% of your day is on autopilot, and it's
Yeah.
what you do with the 5% consciously that will affect the 95%.
Hmm.
So I think that I am choosing to be conscious with my 5% in terms of the dietetic space and like how can we make it better?
Hmm.
Like obviously something is not working.
Yeah.
So like what can we do? Do I know what we can do? No. But something needs to change. And
Well,
so
Claire,
I
you
think it's just
execute
kind of
every
like
every day in your content though. Like, and that's what I think is really valuable about your message is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, right? Because you know how you like to operate. So from what I've seen, you throw a really big, I guess, intention towards like being having people be intuitive with their bodies, having people be in their bodies, right? And helping them to navigate what it's like to do some of these habits that we talk about in the dietetics community all the time. You know, the simple act of hydrating, the simple act of listening to your hunger, things like that. So like are would you say that you're an intuitive eating
no.
dietitian or like okay, cool.
Immediately no. Immediately no.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. I see what I
Well,
need to
because
see.
my so and I want to be really unapologetic with this, and I hope that you can do this as well because that seems to be a really big thing in the nutrition space is
Mhm.
intuitive eating. Um, for those that don't know, uh, people of color in our dietetics field make up maybe 10%, I think. I haven't talked to Tamara in a while. I'm gonna have to ask her for the updated numbers, but
I
it's
think
it's
it's
uh
I
it's a
think it's
small amount.
20. It's 20
20.
now.
It's 20 now. Let's
Maybe.
go.
Because there's the
Okay.
other and the not reported.
Yes. Okay. So there's 20%. And I'm wondering, Claire, if you like a lot of these people in this space are usually white women with a great deal of thin privilege. So I wanted to know kind of like as you're observing this, because I observe it too. What are your thoughts with that?
With inhabiting proximity to the intuitive eating space.
Yeah, and what sort of information is being displayed?
I think it's a
Like, what are you
very
observing?
I you know what it reminds me of? Model homes. Like, the subdivisions?
Yeah.
That's what I'm observing. That's what it reminds me of. This might be something I turn into an Instagram post. Do you know what I
Wait,
mean?
because they're all like the same model and they look the same?
It's all the same, and it's all the same, like, it's all the, like, light pink neutrals. It's the sans serif font. It's the like, it's like, "You use Canva, and I know it."
All right, so we did the Control
Done and
Control
done.
Alt Delete earlier. What's the copy? Like
It's the Control
mine
C,
is
Control
Command
V.
C. Yeah, there you go.
Command
Control
C,
C.
Command V.
Okay.
That's literally yeah, that's what I think it feels like. It's like a subdivision, a really nice subdivision where,
Yeah.
like, they look a little bit different. There's, like, slight variation, but pretty much all the
Mhm.
houses there's, like, 4 major houses, 4
Yeah.
major builds. We just changed the color a little bit. We added different window treatment, but that's what it feels like.
I'm awaiting this post actually. Can you please tag me?
I'll be like, "This is all if you don't agree with this, bring it up with Des because this was his idea." That's what I'm like, "Just tell him. He did it. That he brought it up."
Yeah. Yeah, I bring it up because it's something that I'm constantly observing, and a lot of the people that I see have tremendous accounts. And if I'm being honest, like there's the select few, and you're absolutely one of them, who are talking about really big issues, as it pertains to what health looks like in different cultures, what health looks like in just different environments. And I really, really enjoy how honest you are in those areas, because I think back, Claire, I don't know if you knew this. So, like, when I first started in the dietetics field, it was eating disorders, which usually that type of demographic is very affluent, mostly white, people. And so when I sort of switched over to the community side, and it was local to Tucson, Arizona, which 90% of my clients, or patients rather, were only Spanish speaking, I found that like I had to like switch up the way that I was teaching nutrition, because it came a little bit more about, I don't need to be teaching these people about quinoa and other things. Like, I need to be teaching them about food access. I need to make sure that I create a damn food pantry here, because people don't have resources. So like the kind of things that you talk about, Clara, are really special. And I'm just wondering for you, like going back to origin story, I mean, why is this type of work so passionate for you? Because what I really enjoy about your honest take is that you are inclusive of different people, different bodies, just differences. And I think that's a rare breed, and I enjoy it.
Thank you. Uh, I just think that, like, we don't eat the same, right? Like,
Hmm.
the food you grew up with does not look like the food I grew up with, does not look like my neighbor's food.
Hmm.
And there is I think that the framework for intuitive eating is great. I think that it's really well intentioned, and I think it casts a really wide net for in terms of applicability. Is that a word? Did I just make up a word?
It is now.
In terms of application, right?
No, I
You
want the
can
other one.
I can see how it can be applied to a wide variety of settings, right?
Yeah.
But the caveat to a wide net is, or that wide net per se, is that it lacks depth and it only goes so far. And if it was like a bell curve, I would say that intuitive eating hits about like, if you have like everyone in the middle, it'd be like the tail end,
Yeah.
that only a certain group of people can access that or reap the benefits of participating in that kind of framework.
Hmm.
And it's just not, it doesn't speak to, how do I want to say this? It's an individual solution to a systemic problem, to like a community issue.
Thank you.
So like, you know, if there's like 3 or 4 people that are like, this really worked for me, but like it forgets everyone else, it's kind of like you're kind of an a-hole.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, okay, if this worked for you, let's see what else is happening that's not letting it
Mhm.
work for everyone else. But I
Yeah.
think in asking that, you have to confront a lot of like the privileges that you have, the access, the, you know, the identities you occupy, the like all these other confounding things that are uncomfortable, right? Like there's like the saying that like we all have the same 24 hours.
Mhm.
If I could do it, you could do it kind of mentality, but like that erases, that invalidates a lot of lived experience that speak contrary to that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about, because you mentioned like being in the like Filipino culture, right? What role has the Filipino culture had with you with what you do now? Because I know very much what the role of the what being a Mexican man has done for me in my life, and in my culture as well as a Latino. I know the role that that has played, and it's played a really beautiful role, and one that I've had to do a shit ton of work around to try to figure out why do these issues happen. I mean,
Mhm.
for you, like, what is that process like? What does that look like for you?
So I think that growing up first gen, right,
You
in
did mention
America.
that. Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, I do
first
remember that
gen
now.
Filipino American in a body that is not typical of like the fairly like petite body size that Filipino people envision in their brain. That like all my family are like like all the women in my family are very like slender, they're very petite. And of course I take after my father, so I like to say that I'm built like a tiny linebacker, whatever. I think that has
I'm just having the visual of you just running a blitz package, but yeah, go ahead.
right. I used to squat. Oh my god, when I was in my heyday of like going to the gym, when going to the gym was fun
Yeah.
and like you didn't have to wear a mask. I was squatting a lot. Okay. Like I could be like, you don't
Well,
have
I
to
want to
take the
know
weight
now.
off.
Yeah.
I feel like I think the most I ever did was like 206.
God damn.
And
Really?
I am 5'2".
Let's go.
And
Growing
I
those
was do
glutes. Let's go.
I was like, yeah, and I would like see all my friends and it would be like, let's work out and whatever, right? But back to, so I think that being in the body that I am in as a child
Mhm.
has afforded me the ability to to grow a thick skin. Okay? Because I don't know about you, but I read this book where this girl was like, I was just subject to a lot of like media messaging about you need to be thin, but like my family was really supportive and I still internalize all those negative messaging, blah, blah, blah. No, I did not have that experience. My family is ruthless, ruthless. Like, you know, saying stuff like, hi, and then they'll hit you with the like, "Tumaba ka ba," which means like, have you gotten fat? Like to your face. To your face will be like, "You have gotten fat. You don't have a boyfriend? It's probably because 'cause you're fat." Like, just like that's those are the greetings
Yeah,
that you
I understand.
like, you go to like a party with your whole family, and it's like, "Oh my god, like, you gain weight? Mm, why do you have so
It's
many
like
pimples?"
like, hello? God damn.
And it's like, I don't know. And, as I got older, it's kinda like, "Probably the same way you did," would be my response. But I think that that's probably the original origin story,
Yeah,
like,
that's
growing
what I'm trying to dig out. Like, it makes total sense. I don't know. There's
and
something about. Yeah, go ahead.
and I think that now so, like, that made me kind of, like, you put a lot of emphasis on, like, the way you look, basically, because of those conversations, but it's now, like, as an adult and knowing the history of, like, the colonization of the Philippines, knowing the history of the you know, my family's experience moving here to America, and, like, as an adult seeing interacting with other people just in my lived experience, I think has shaped the way that I navigate these conversations, right? So, like, now as an adult knowing all those things, I know that those conversations come from somehow a place of love, right?
Yeah,
Because these people in their experience have realized that there is a certain level of safety if you look a certain way.
100%.
And so, like, is it the best way to communicate that? Probably not.
No, yeah, no,
Maybe no. I just a
no.
guess. I mean,
Yeah.
who who's to say? Jury's
Who
still
am
out.
I? But
In my humble opinion, that might not be the best way to go about it.
and
I
if
don't
you say
know.
this to my kids, I will fight you.
I would be like, you know what? We actually don't talk about bodies. If you can't change it in 5 seconds, we
Yeah,
don't talk about it. These are just things that you don't mention. And yeah, and I think that if you think about how that idea, that motivator drives those kinds of actions,
yeah,
for me, it's kind of like it might be too big of a lift to change in that generation, but it's something that I can consciously change in mine.
yeah. No, Claire, I love that. And so, like, what prompted us even jumping on together right now? And I really want to thank you for this too. Is you and I were just talking back and forth about kids, and obviously my baby boy is here in June, which I'm super pumped about. And
Yeah.
I think I made the comment to you like I don't know if I'm ready. And in all of your delight, I really loved just like, hey, do you want to talk about it? And I was like, you know what? That Clara,
You're like,
sh-
maybe.
she's a solid person.
Maybe.
So I do want to kind of transition into kind of how you're taking that role because I really resonate with that. And as I look at a lot of my upbringing, I'm furthering my understanding about generational trauma, and I'm
Mhm.
furthering my understanding about really coming to a place with those before me that like, hey, 100% colonization played a really big role in a lot of this. You did the best that you could with what you had, and thank you, like thank you. You've given me an opportunity to set this correctly, and I thank you for that. So like with you, Clara, you're from what I heard earlier is like you're trying to be more intentional now. I mean, what does intentionality look like as a parent for you?
It looks like I have no idea what I'm doing. But that's across the board. You have no idea. There's no book. There like it
There's
I read like
nothing.
I read one book and I couldn't finish it because there were so many typos in the book that I was like, "I this person is making money off of this. This
I need to
did
write my own
not."
book.
I'm like, "What the hell is this? Well, this is the wrong word. This word sounds like this word. This is not the word they wanted to use."
Hey, can we know the book?
It's it's
Oh.
I just am scared. I don't want to get I don't want to get sued. I I am litigious minded. You got to be on. Why are you trying to get me in
Hey,
trouble?
no.
Are we in a fight? I thought we were friends. Um.
You
So
said that you're like a professional troublemaker, so I'm just trying to instigate
we're
you.
just skirting around this. So you don't, nobody knows what they're doing. Okay. One,
Facts.
no one knows. Two, uh, there, there are definitive wrong ways to parent, right?
Yeah.
But there is an infinite amount of right ways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. And that doesn't make what you're doing or what I'm doing wrong. It just makes it right for your family.
Yeah.
And three, not doing it the way someone had previously done it is not a reflection of you undermining their ability to parent, which I think is a conversation that a lot of people need to have. Like, just because you did it that way, cool, and it worked out great. Me not doing it that way is not an attack on that person. It just
Yeah.
I just, like, I don't wanna do it, right? And so that's a conversation you might have to have, or you might need to keep in mind moving forward, because there are a lot of people who get offended when they give you advice, most of the time unasked for, unprovoked.
Yep.
Uh, and it's like, it's not so much advice, but like instruction. And if you go against it, they it becomes like a moral failure on their part. It becomes like an attack to them as a parent,
Yeah.
when like it really has nothing to, and it's just like it's extra stress. It's like, I'm already tired. I No one is sleeping. I'm not sleeping. And now your feelings are hurt. Like, you can deal with that.
I
That's a
can't
you
do this
problem.
right now.
That is a you problem. La, 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 la. So, like, but yeah, so those would be my things. As I navigate it, you kind of just try to, you like crowdsource what's worked for everybody. And
Yeah.
then you just like work your way through that list. And sometimes you find things that work for you. You do it your own way. You kind of like, but nothing, I don't think any book prepares you really for parenthood.
Yeah. I don't I mean, I constantly joke now. I mean, so my wife is white, came from a very like affluent family. And so like having conversations about that is something that like we're constantly trying to get better at, is holding space for one another and trying to talk about it. But there's a joke between the two of us that we're just learning how to parent from the account Latinx parenting. I don't know if you've come across it. It's phenomenal. But it does talk a lot about what you're saying, is like, hey, there's really no book with how to do this. There are infinite ways to do this incorrectly, and a bunch of ways that you can also do this in a way that feels aligned to you. So, like, Clara, I'm kind of wondering for you, like, you have this upbringing, right? And now you have this different way of parenting. I mean, what made it so that it was aligned with you? I mean, what are the parts about your parenting that are just really aligned with you?
I think hmm, it's raising humans that I'm prepared can leave as adults,
Hmm.
as adults, but be like good humans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like emotionally intelligent humans, and knowing that like they're their own person. They're
Hmm.
not uh like, their sole existence isn't to make me feel good.
Hmm.
And I think that
That's a harsh truth right there.
oh, you
That's
know
a
what you could
harsh
do
truth right there.
as a new
Wow.
parent? You could find out it's a good time to start going through like any unhealed childhood trauma, because
Why?
these kids, these kids, they see it and they will poke those buttons. It's like, is this 2-year-old trying to fight me right now? Are they trying to fight? Why do I feel attacked? What is triggering me? Why is this 2-year-old like, I have conversations with my daughter, she's 3 going on 4. And sometimes it's like, what but it's like but it's like, what is it in me that this is triggering? Because she, like, has no idea. She's just going through
She's no
life.
idea.
No
Yeah.
idea. Her brain is still forming. Me, fully formed. And like, what's happening? Why why am I being triggered by this? It's like, but these are the things that you have to go through, right? Like, I saw a
Yeah.
TikTok that was like, you tell your kid, like, hey, stop doing what you're doing. Let's go have dinner. And as a kid, it was like when my parents were like, hey, we're going to go do this thing now. I'd be like, all right, let's go. Like, drop whatever I
Like
was doing. Guess I'm, guess I'm going.
oh
I'm
gosh.
on my way. But like, but now, like as an adult, I would never tell you, like, hey, Des, let's go. Like, it would be like, hey, in when you're done, like, are you almost done with what you're doing? Can you find a pause so that we can go do this thing? That's how you would communicate it to them, or like to another adult, right? Like, if you were working and your wife's like, hey, dinner's ready, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes and then I'll be there, right? Or like, come
Yeah.
call me if I forget. And with my kids, I try to model that. Like,
Yeah.
and so I am being intentional with like,
It's a superpower, man.
you don't have to, like, I want to give her the verbiage that like I think that I didn't have. And so
Yeah.
it's a lot of like navigating these very weird conversations. And like, she's 3, so she is a little manipulative because, well, I mean, like, kids aren't manipulative. It's like, this thing that they're doing
No,
feels good.
they're fucking sorcerers. You can say it. Yes.
Like, playing games is fun, right? And so you want to just keep the fun going. But it's also like, hey, we have to eat dinner. So maybe do you want to finish up what you're doing and then we can go? And now the conversation is like, hey, can I have 5 minutes and then I'll be there? And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, totally cool. Or like, can you make it 3? Do we need a
Yeah.
timer? But it's
Yeah.
like giving the tools. I'm just the provider of tools, much like in
Yeah.
dietetics, right? Like, I am just the provider of, these are the options. You can, whatever you choose. If you are paying me, I will be there with you to support you. Right? Like, people are like,
Oh,
it's like, don't look at my plate. I'm like, you're not paying me.
yeah.
I'm
I don't care. Like, can we continue our conversation, please?
Yeah,
God.
like, whatever. Okay.
Like, it used to happen. It doesn't happen as often because we'll talk about the pandemic too. Like, I don't do shit either. So I'm here. Like, you see this? This is where I'm always at. So,
Yeah. But
uh,
yeah, so that's pretty much like, I think that it's that intentionality and then also just knowing you're going to get it wrong and that
yeah.
no one knows what they're doing.
No,
And if they tell you they do, they're lying.
you're alive.
Unless it's a
Yeah.
sleep coach, because then God sends angels, earth angels.
Oh, there's so much about what you said that I really, really enjoy. And you're absolutely right. I think kids, even for listeners out there who are not planning on having kids, like spend time with kids because they offer some really, really big gems for you as an adult because Clara, you're absolutely right. And I think about this. So the other day, so Roars is about to be 6 in April. It's a constant thing. She has very, very curly, tight curls. So like we have to comb them out so that they don't get stuck and they don't start to dread. Okay. Like, so we spend time on that each and every morning. So I'm in my office the other day and I grew up in the same way. It's like, hey, Des, you need to be here. It's like, all right, I'm there. So I grew up very authoritarian, like, hey, right now type of thing. So I'm listening, I'm here in the office, and I overhear my daughter talking with my wife, arguing about brushing her teeth. So my wife says, hey, I need you to brush your teeth right now, please. We do need to go. We're running late for school. So Roars says, okay. And I just hear her marching down the hall. She's like, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it thoroughly. Clara, I beelined out there, opened the door, and I was like, hey, excuse me. And like just standing like this. And like I had that moment where I was like, all right, I don't want to yell right now. This is not what I want to do. So I need to take some damn deep breaths, go back in the office, do any sort of breath work that I need in order to come back out and say, hey, I get it. We're asking a lot of you right now. But it takes a special type of human being. So I'm like wondering for you, how do you get to a point where you calm your nervous system enough to give them what they need and not just outwardly like go?
Oh,
like like what? So obviously this is a
no.
podcast about
Sometimes I
habits and
yell.
rituals, right? Like how, what do you?
Sometimes I yell. I listen, I scream sometimes. I literally will be like, you know what? You're making me. I feel really angry with the way this is happening. I need to take a breath. I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right
I
back.
statements. Let's go.
And I am working. Sometimes they slip, like you're making me really angry. You're doing this. This is really you're really hurting my feelings.
Hmm.
But it's not, right? Like I so I like literally have to like it's me
It's
like
me.
I am getting really angry. My feelings are hurt right now. I need to take a minute.
Hmm.
And like so we just keep doing that. You just got to, I'm at home with the kids most of the time. So it's a lot of just me and like the other day my daughter was like, "I'm getting upset. I'm going to be in my room. I'll come out in a second." She like goes, she'll come back and she'll say, then we'll talk about it. And she's like, I don't like it when you do X, Y, and Z. But sometimes it's like, I don't want to put my shoes on. I don't want to put my socks on. And it's like, okay, you don't have to. We're
Hmm.
going, sometimes we do things we don't like. You will learn that in life. Um, but
Deep cut.
this is just the reality.
Yeah.
And it's like if you don't want to wear shoes, you then don't wear shoes. Y- I think you would like shoes when you're walking around the store, but it's up to you, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's kind of like a teachable moment. It's a learning lesson. You're just like, she was like maybe 1.5, and we were in Buffalo, New York in the winter. And she like didn't want to wear a jacket. And we were gonna go see fireworks. And so I was like, okay, don't wear a jacket then. Then don't. It's cold, so I thought you might like a jacket, but if you
You're
don't
playing
want
with
it,
fire right now.
don't wear a jacket. We got like half a block and she stops and she's like, cold. I'm cold. I'm like, we have a jacket. Do you want to wear a jacket because you're cold? You said you feel cold. Would you like a jacket? And like just connecting those things and like helping create like sequencing, you know, kind of like in that sense, helping her feel more confident in I want to go run outside. So I should probably pick footwear that encompasses my entire foot,
Yeah. Not
because the
sandals.
not sandals, but we've had teachable moments, right? Like she's worn sandals, she's run, she's like fallen on her face, scraped some knees, and it's
Hmm.
like, well, I'm sorry you scraped your knee. I know that probably hurts a lot, validate the feelings, like the
Yeah.
apology. Like
Yeah.
it hurts. These things are happening. If you wore
That post was
shoes,
amazing, by the way.
thank you. If you wore shoes, that wouldn't happen. And then you just kind of like, that's it. And the next time is she's like, we should wear shoes because like last time I fell. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But I think it's
Yeah.
just like kind of not babying kids and not like mm, she doesn't owe me my happiness, right? Like we're supposed to have fun together. Like this should be nice together. And I think it's those conversations, those things. Like, why would you do this to me? She's 3. She doesn't understand why she did anything.
Yeah.
Why did she fling paint? I have no idea. She probably doesn't know either.
Clara,
So
I feel fucking attacked right now. I
you
feel attacked. Seems like
you
a
should
you
talk.
problem.
Yeah. Go to therapy. But, what
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like it's just navigating all those things, right? Like it's talking to your inner child because they push and push and push. They will push every button if you let
Yeah.
them. And I think it's like that parent superpower to be like to like see little you and be like, this is what you needed.
Yeah. Oh, so like I kind of rewinding back to like the start of the pandemic. 'Cause, like I've talked about this in a couple different ways with different guests. Most people are sort of looking at their life like pre-pandemic, in pandemic, and then almost post. Almost,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
Yeah. So I kind of think back when it first happened, and it just so happened, Clara, that I was already doing everything online. So I was full time on doing this, and so I was home. So like my daughter and I got a lot of one-to-one time, which beforehand we really didn't because I was traveling a lot. I was rarely home, and even if I was home, I don't think that I was really present. But that for me was part of my process. So at the start of the pandemic, I noticed that a lot started coming up about my race, my identity, what I allowed to happen in a lot of my life. And there was just like this really big uprising and seeing a therapist and really working with him to really heal from a lot of those childhood wounds. I'm wondering for you, because for me, like it was probably one of the most life changing times for like it is probably for a lot of people, but in the best of ways because it showed me that I had a lot of shit to work on and I had to really take care of myself through the process. And that's something that has helped me be who I am today. And I'm so thankful for those habits and those rituals. So for you, kind of like rewinding to where you are now, what sort of things can you say about rituals that have really helped you to to be a phenomenal person, a mom, a wife, like all those things that you are today?
Mm, I think that I really like some semblance of structure. It's
Yeah.
probably why I went to like grad school after I graduated from college. Like I really like the structure of a day.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have like rituals per se, unless that's like every day I make myself a latte.
Yeah, that's a
I
100% ritual. It's
must,
self-care, baby.
I must caffeinate, hydrate, celebrate, all those things so that I may radiate. That's literally like, that's it. That's all I do all day, every day.
We
Um,
just found the title to our pod. I'm so happy.
and so I think in that sense, I do a lot of like, it's just, yeah, what are things that I can do that can help me survive this day? And I have let go, maybe a ritual of letting go the the shoulds. I should clean. I should fold the laundry.
You're
I
not
should,
shitting on yourself anymore?
yeah, like I really should mop this week because I haven't done it since last week. I should do all, XYZ. Also me, you know, I have not slept longer than 90 minutes in like a 90-minute increment all week. Like I so
It's a
I
real
sleep like,
it's a real thing.
and so it's kind of like what really am I asking myself? Right? Like I should be exercising. I should have a vegetable sometime in the next 48 hours. Like, but it's like big picture, what am I doing? Right? Like if I like what am I asking of myself? And is it realistic or am I just shoulding? And I think that's
Yeah.
probably a mental ritual, a self
Yeah.
check of what am I really asking myself and what is that taking away from?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Shit.
Very low maintenance, very low level. That's pretty much it. Did I wash my hair in the last 4 days? Did I things like that. But,
Yeah.
like yeah, no, I try to meditate some mornings if my children are sleeping,
Mhm.
and it's like a 5 minute. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes my medita and, like, it's like, sometimes I just wanna listen to someone telling me to breathe, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, am I fixing the bed, brushing my teeth, getting dressed for the day? Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's, like, in that flexibility that, like, the main idea is there. And I think it's just, uh, an adherence to flexibility,
I
right? So
love that.
it's not everything has to be like, I have to get in, 30 minutes of exercise today. I have to get in like 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. I have to do,
Yeah.
because like life happens. And like when we get like so zoomed in, when we get like so hyper focused, you just like lose sight of everything else.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that. You poked me in a couple different ways during this pod. I appreciate that.
Good. Good. Take
Oh my
notes and
gosh.
then talk to your therapist about it.
Dr. Gia, I'll see you in 2 weeks, man.
It's literally like when my husband and I have conversations, whenever something ever comes up, it's always like, you should make a note of this. This seems
Or
like
I
higher
will, and
level.
here, I'm gonna put this in your pocket.
This is a higher level conversation that is way
Oh,
above me.
those are Jedi moves right there.
Oh, I don't know. Don't ask
Oh,
me. Everything makes
oh.
me cry, so don't ask me. I am unstable. I am unwell. So don't follow me. I am also
Oh,
lost. That would be
me
my
too.
bumper sticker.
Oh my gosh. Claire, I'm so thankful for you. So we're at the 57-minute mark right now, and I really take pride in not trying to organize questions for people because I feel like it brings just a level of, there you go, non-flexibility to organic conversations. But I always do have 3 questions that I ask every guest. We're going to go ahead and get those done, and then you can get back to your beautiful family. I appreciate so much about you and you taking the time to talk with
Oh,
us.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so obviously this is the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. So my question for you, Clara, is do you believe that you've made it? And if not, what does making it feel like for you in your season of life right now?
Mm, made it to this day. Made it to this
To
spot,
this
like,
podcast?
here in this moment. Am I here mentally or physically? Which one? I need specificity. I need I don't think so. I don't think I've made it. I think that so this is probably one of my toxic traits. I attribute a lot of my success, um, to financial gain. So a
Yeah,
lot of like, you
makes
know,
sense.
it's probably me underplaying a lot of what I do on the internet because I am not monetizing it. Um,
Oh
but
yeah,
also,
we're gonna talk about that when this is done recording. Go ahead.
but monetizing it would then make it feel like work. And I also don't like to do that either. So it's kind of like, then I won't like it. Then I won't. It's it's crazy up here. So
Sounds like
no.
more of a higher level conversation.
I'm gonna just write this down, talk to my
I'm gonna just
therapist
write this
about
down.
it.
I'm gonna send you a
I need to
DM.
untangle. Let me see. But yeah, no, so I don't think so.
Makes
I will
sense.
say
Okay.
if you asked one of I had a professor tell me like because I was like, I don't really like being a clinical dietetics. I don't really like it. Um and she laughed in my face and told me no one will respect you if you don't pay your dues. And that has, like, sat with me. Now, I mean, cut to me now, I work in the outpatient setting. So, like, na,
Yeah.
right? But
Suck it.
like really holding on to that, like what is holding on to that really doing, right?
Yeah.
Like is what I'm doing really in alignment with what I'd like to be doing? I don't know. But so in that sense, 2016 me has made it because now I have earned the respect of those around me. Um, but in terms of my own, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think not yet. I think that there's still more
Yeah.
for me to do, and I don't know what it
What
is.
do you think that? Yeah. What do you think that looks like?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but it's not this. I'm not done yet. I think I want to take over the world. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it would be, even if it wasn't like outward facing, I think that I want to be a part of something that will remain, which is probably very narcissistic of me. But I want to do something that will remain long after I'm gone and hopefully will help a lot of other people in a way that
Legacy.
what is here is not
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So that
I don't I don't view that as narcissistic. I relate to it. That's legacy. I love that.
a building with my name on it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I don't know. But like, yeah, something like that. I think I want to
Okay.
do something. I want to make something that can be referenced
Yeah.
to,
I love that.
and then I will have made it.
Okay. All right. Second question for you. So obviously the podcast is also about the hero's journey. This is probably outside of the question that I just asked you, like my second favorite question, because people kind of take it in different ways. So this being a pod about the hero's journey, I want to know who is your hero comp, or who would you say is your hero in your life? So a couple of people have gone the superhero side and they tell you why, and other people have said this person is my hero. So you can choose how you want to answer it.
Mm. Do you say like nerd whenever they use the comics? Just kidding. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, I do.
My my husband plays Dungeons and Dragons, so loves for all the nerds. My heroes. I would say like my parents. I mean, I think about it now as an adult, like moving to a foreign country with
Yeah.
like literally nothing is wild to me. Like trying to think about that now, like as an adult, I'd be
Did
like,
they speak English when they came?
yeah, they're from the Philippines, so like everyone
Okay.
pretty much speaks English
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But
That's,
like, or
that's
like they,
nuts.
it's part of like their schooling, unlike
Yeah.
how Spanish is part of the schooling here. It's very different. I think it's more
Yeah.
immersive, but like
Yeah.
whatever. So them, I think, I don't know. I don't really know who I like. Who are like my heroes. That probably says a lot about me that I don't really have people that I'm like, that person is my hero. Because like what comes to mind is like
You just said your
sports.
parents, though.
But outside of that, I mean, like complexity, right? Like it wouldn't be just one single person is like my hero. I feel like for me, at least, I would have to make it more difficult. It would need to be very complicated and it would be a group. It would be like a board of like
Like a round
heroes
table.
that spoke to various aspects of my
All right.
life. Yeah. So let's
All
go with
right.
that. And then I have no idea.
Okay. I love it. That'll be a homework assignment for when you come back on for part two. I'm like, all right, I need to know who the round table is. All right. Last question. And then I will let you go, Clara. You are amazing. Thank you so much for taking some time for us. So where can people find you? What sort of projects do you have going on that people can support? How can we shed love all over you right now?
I am mostly on Instagram and TikTok at your dietitian BFF.
Please,
I
please do
am
yourself the favor and give her a follow like immediately.
like, yes, follow me.
Yes.
The Projects, I'm not really doing anything right now in terms of projects.
Aside
I'm
from those
not.
those accounts are your projects.
Those are
Wait,
my
wait, hold
fun
on. They're
times.
not work. Sorry, they're not work.
Those are my
Sorry.
fun times.
Those are your that's your what you're doing at night in lunch break.
Yeah, that's my fun stuff. Yeah, I say divert all the attention of me to ASDA and diversified dietetics. That's
God dang it.
that's
We
where
need to
that would
have a
go.
part 2 because I read the email thread and I had to take a couple days. The level of bravery on the side of ASDA was like, you put things into words that I have always thought, and wow. God damn. Yeah, I got that from you. So thank you for sharing that. It is a really interesting topic, and I do, Clara, want to have a part 2 because I wanted to dig into that, but we had already talked about so many really great things. All right,
Yeah,
podcast
let's
fam, you
do
have
it.
no idea what I'm talking about, but I will put that also in the show notes because it's another topic that I think is so fucking important. But we'll have it for a part 2. So, Clara, I appreciate you as a human. Thank you so much for coming on and taking some time with us. I know you had your family screaming for you in the background. I love
Oh
it.
my god, could you hear them? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I love it. I'm surprised
I
Rory hasn't like burst in right now and tried to tackle me or something.
She's like,
Now
"Who are
that I
you
said
talking
it out loud, she's
where
probably going to
are
do
you
that right
talking to?
now.
Did you call me? Did you
Yeah.
call me?"
But
It's
Claire,
always
thank you so
crazy here.
much. Yeah, it's crazy here too. I appreciate you, Claire. So for our listeners out there, Claire, don't leave when we press pause or press end because I want to chat with you a little bit. But for our listeners out there, make sure that you go over, give Claire a follow. If you want a really big dose of truth, humor, and love, she is a tremendous person to be following, and just seeing her
Thank
process, it's
you.
I love it. So for listeners out there, make sure that you do that. I'll catch you on the next pod. Let's go.
Bye.